It may hurt a little at first. It may seem unnatural to you at first, but do it exactly the way they taught it to you. Do it slowly, do it for a short period of time. Then a firm foundation is laid. The Sanskrit word here is bhumi. I put this word partly because it so often comes in Tibetan prayers. Om Vajra Bhumi Ahum, when we start the mandala offering, and the Bodhisattva Bhumis. It means the ground. It means the solid basis of all things. The ancient Sanskrit root is bhu, bhu. The ancient Indo-European root before that was bheu. It is the word to be and the word to become. The be comes from the same root. It's kind of fun to trace how other words appear. The B changes, BH changes to PH. The U changes to Y in Greek. And the word physics comes from bu. In Latin, the BH becomes an F. And the word future comes from bu. The word build comes from this same root. We have to build a strong foundation, do things right, even if you look silly to other people, even if you don't look very expert yet, and then you will become a true expert. Next line, please.
Tato dvandva anabhigata, and there will come a time when differences no longer harass you.
The word differences here is dvandva. The root is dva, D-V-A, which means the number 2. So this word means two. Twos. The ancient Indo-European root is D-W-O, dwo. The D changes to T by the time it gets to English, and it's the word two, the number 2. In Greek, it becomes di, as in dipole. It comes into Latin as bi, as in bicycle. Because the T drops out and the V becomes B. This is the line after the line in the Yoga Sutra which tells you about the yoga exercises, the asanas. Sorry, 2 lines later. And it's saying if you do these exercises and they help your meditation, which is 1 line later, then you will be able to overcome differences, which is the 2nd line after the original. In your daily practice, this again refers to discriminating between practices which you enjoy because you're already good at them and you don't need them too much, and practices which you don't enjoy, which you should be working on. But there's a much deeper level. As we will learn later today, maybe a little later, I hope you don't mind, we might have to stop this section also and to continue it tomorrow. But we tend to dualities, we tend to differentiation. This fact is reflected in the channels which run within our very bodies, the subtle channels. Running down the core of your body is a central channel, what's called the central channel. We'll talk more about it later. On each side of it are 2 auxiliary channels, and those 2 auxiliary channels are pretty much the source of all our trouble. but they create an effect on the mind of differentiating between different things. Even the distinction between, say, male and female, even the distinction between, say, the sun and the moon and night and day, and especially distinctions between I like this and I don't like that, I like him, I don't like her. These can all be traced to the actual physical makeup of our bodies. Yoga is meant to address those channels and soften their influence and eventually remove it altogether. And then we are not making painful or troublesome distinctions between people and events. Does this mean that we should try to ignore things that are bad and not think about them? Does it mean that we should just try to reach some space where everything can collapse around us and we can see people die and get old and suffer and not mind? Of course not. Enlightened beings don't reach some kind of lack of distinction where they're no longer worried that you are dying, getting old, suffering, losing the ones you love. Of course not. It refers to the method by which we stop these evils. So the ultimate difference here is the difference in our very being, which doesn't understand why these things are happening to us. And we'll speak about that later on in the sutra. Next verse, please.
Satchidirga kalaya narantarya sakkara asevito dirda umi. You must cultivate your practice over an extended period of time.
Thank you. This is another part of the same verse. The key word here is kala. This is the kala in Kala Chakra, if you've heard of that, the wheel of time. And it means time. It comes from a Sanskrit word, root, K-A-L. And that in the European is K-E-L. And as we said, K becomes C. And you can find this in the word accelerate. The C-E-L is the ancient K-E-L, which means to go fast over time. And probably the C-E-L in celebrity, which means that frequently over a space of time, this person comes to a place which came to mean famous. His Holiness, sweet, incredible, glorious Dalai Lama, often says we can't expect miracles in our practice. You don't stop billions of years of negative thinking in a few months of practice. We're here for the long term. The human psyche is extremely difficult to change. Those of us in 3-year retreat can tell you that. I think we've all realized now as the time grows short that it's like chipping away at a brick wall. Even 3 years in silent retreat is not enough to really change in a major way all the inner obstacles and problems we have. So we have to work over the long run, we have to have endurance, patience. Don't be upset if you don't see miracles happening right away. They will happen, but we need to work hard and patiently. I saw a beautiful quotation by Swami Vishnu Devananda. Somebody asked him, how long does this sadhana take to work? He said, could be 10 hours, could be 10 days, might be 10 months, could be 10 years, could be 10,000 lifetimes. Then he said, but we don't really have a choice, do we? We have to try. We have to start. And it could take time. It's not to say you won't have major breakthroughs. Those of you who are here, you are special people, even to be interested in these things. You have extraordinary seeds in your mind. You will be able to awaken them very quickly in this lifetime. Next verse, please.
Bhavana Janyanam Surya Sanyamat. Turn the combined effort upon the sun, and you will understand the earth.
It sounded like John Stewart, I'm not sure. But any of you who have ever taken an ACI course, they wouldn't exist without this person. You should know it. You should appreciate it. This is the verse where Master Patanjali begins to describe the inner channels. We said there are two inner channels which cause a lot of problems. Roughly, you can say that within one of them flows our thoughts of anger, negative thoughts, jealousy. Inside the other channel flows our thoughts of desire, wanting things. Surya refers to the channel in which anger flows, jealousy, envy, hatred, competitive thinking. It's on the right side of our bodies. It's called Surya, which means sun. Its nickname is Surya. Surya comes from an ancient Indo-European root. I have to think to get it right. Sahvel. S-A-H-W-E-L. And it means sun. S-U-N. In some languages, the ending remains L as in Latin, and sol, the sun, or solar, comes from that. In the Germanic languages, the L changes to N, and you get sun. In Greek, the S-E drops out. You get hual, which becomes helios for sun, and it's in the English word heliotrope. The word jnana, which means if you focus the combined effort on the sun, then you will understand the earth, is the word for to know or to understand. The Sanskrit word is, root is J-N-Y long A. The ancient Indo-European root is G-N-O. And that's why the English word to know has a K in front of it. K-N-O comes from that. the word recognize, the GN comes from snya. And many, many other words. The word I can do it, I can, comes from the G and the N that becomes the hard K. I can, K-E-N, means I know how. I know how to do. So all of these words come from the ancient root snya. You know it in Prajna Paramita, the perfection of wisdom. Bhuvana, meaning earth, is the same root as bhumi, and we already talked about that. So what does it mean if you focus on the sun, you can understand the earth? Combined effort means the effort of your two meditative states and your understanding of emptiness. These are the opening, from the opening lines of the third chapter of the sutra. First, the master explains what focus means. Then he explains what meditation means. And then he explains that you should use them combined with an understanding of emptiness. Of course, none of you will ever again think that emptiness means nothing. It's just that the guy's walking down the road is just a figure, blank figure, and then what you see, Tantric Angel or Jetsukarma, depends on your own seeds. So if you focus this kind of knowledge on that channel running within your own body, then you will be able to understand the earth. The fact that we don't understand that the things around us coming from our own seeds, in our own minds, that fact runs in your right channel. That misunderstanding runs within your very body. So now you can start to get a feel for how powerful the physical yoga exercises are meant to be. If you can assume certain positions which affect the channel on the right, you can actually develop a stronger understanding of the reality around you. You can stop misunderstanding your own reality. Because anger and misunderstanding are running in the same channel. When Master Patanjali is talking about the earth, he means the objects around you. Those of you who studied with Lama Geshe Thupten Rinchen, Holy Lama, understand this as the division between the emptiness of the person and the emptiness of the parts of the person. Anyway, the bottom line is, external means can be used to affect a channel, and then the thoughts running in that channel can begin to become more pure and holy. This is the whole meaning of the physical exercises of yoga. This is enhanced by breathing exercises like Tonglen, and by the four immeasurable thoughts. Kindness affects that channel very deeply. So it's kind of exciting. We can work on this channel from the inside and from the outside. Inside, you work on it by being kind to others. With your breath, you work on it through compassion, breathing exercises. And then with the physical exercises, which are much less effective, you can actually loosen up this channel. And then that has a vibration or effect on the kindness. So you're working from both ways and the effect is growing bigger and bigger. If the inner methods are so powerful, and if the yoga exercises by comparison are so gross and rough, why should I bother about these external methods? Usually when you're getting close to a spiritual breakthrough, you're at like 80 or 90% of the breakthrough. You need the last 10% to take you over the top. That's the idea behind the physical exercises. You must work at the channels from the inside through the four immeasurable thoughts: karuna, compassion, and the others, equanimity. You must work on them with your breath through the giving and taking exercises. And then the gross physical exercises will take you over the top, last 10%. They're the least efficient, they take more time. It's much easier to work from the inside with a few minutes of true compassion than with an hour and a half a day of yoga on the outside. But they are both, if you use them together, it's extremely powerful, and they vibrate against each other, and the channels begin to open. This is the whole secret of the higher tantric practices. We are actually trying to develop our kindness and compassion through our physical body. Next verse, please.
Nabi, chakra, kaya, vayuha, jayan, nayam. Turn the same effort upon the center of the navel, and you will understand the structure of the body.
I'm not going to speed up. Let's just go. We'll take a break after the next verse. You'll feel a little chilly. Those of you doing Seichu ceremony tonight, I strongly urge you to do it short. Do the salt ceremony only. Get a good rest. Look at your notes. This is very pleasing to Vajrayogini, I would guess. Nabi chakra. Nabi means navel, the belly button. One of the ancient roots is nob, N-O-B, which came into English as N-A-V, navel. Another root for this word is neb, N-E-B, and that came into the word nebulous and nimbus, cloud. And they all mean some kind of a flowering or mushrooming idea, which is your belly button sort of mushrooms out of your body. It's sort of a flower. The images of a cloud opening up, or a flower opening up, bursting out, is the root meaning of nabi. Let's talk about chakra. This comes from the word kar that we already had for karma, satkara. In Sanskrit and other ancient languages, when you want to say that something's happening over and over again, you just repeat it, like dvandva or chakra. Chakra is really karkra or karkar, and it just means that a wheel is turning again and again and again. It's doing again and again and again, kar. It's called reduplication in Sanskrit, and it happens in English with the word circle. The sir, C-I-R, is just one kar. The kal is just another kar. Circle and chakra are exactly the same words. And the word cycle and other words like that. These are places in the body where the subtle channels cross each other. They cross over. Some books describe them as crossing over. Some books describe them as twining around like vines. Some books describe them as pressing in on both sides of the main channel, like in the shape of a bow and arrow bow, and not crossing. But it doesn't matter how you describe them. A chakra is like an intersection where the channels have tied each other up. And then side channels will sprout out from the sides like the spokes of a wheel. So if you look from the top, you will see a central channel going down and spokes radiating out from the center where the energy tie-ups are. Therefore it's called a chakra or a wheel. This is the first place where the Master Patanjali mentions the chakras, or the tie-up areas of the channels. And he says if you can focus your wisdom and meditation on this energy center at your navel, then you can come to an understanding of the Kaya Vyuha. You know the word Kaya from Dharmakaya and Rupakaya, meaning the bodies of a Buddha. And this is a difficult one in Sanskrit. Panini says it comes from chi, C-H-I. And we have the English word cheetah, the animal, from this root. There's a more ancient root called Kwei in Indo-European, K-W-E-I. Kaya means something that you've built up or you've put together. When this ancient root came into Greek language, the K dropped out, the W changed to V, the V changed to B, the B changed to P, and it became the word poem, which means a composition or something put together. So the word poem comes directly from the root for Kaya. I won't go into much detail, but when you're first born, when you're first conceived, and this is very important for issues like abortion, that the channels begin to grow when the first cell is formed. When the egg and the sperm meet and the first cell forms, there's already a sentient being. There's already a person. Because the cell is growing around the first tiny spot of consciousness called Bindu, or Tigle in Tibetan, and from there the body begins to form. The body, the skeleton, the blood veins, the nervous system, all the branches, are actually forming around the channels, the subtle channels. The subtle channels are more like made of light. If a person dies and you cut them open, you'll never find them. They are physical, but they are made of a substance which is very similar to sunlight. Physicists are still arguing how light can go from the sun to the earth. They are very concerned about how it could even happen, because it cannot be explained through particle theory. So these inner channels form, and then your bones, blood vessels, and nerves form around the shape of the inner channels. The major bones in your back, for example, at the top of the back, at the base of the neck, in your spine, the bones in the base of your backbone, down near your hips. These major lumps of bone are actually forming around tie-ups in the subtle channels. That's why the bone forms there. And that's why, as you get older, it's typical to have pain in the neck, base of the neck, or in the lower back. It's actually a deterioration of the jamming of the channels in those two areas. When you hurt your back, it's actually due to the increase of the problem in the channels. So it's important to understand these things. If you want to improve your health or teach other people to improve their health. But also, if you want to create a body of light in yourself and in others, it's important to understand how you have to influence these channels, how you can open them up. One more verse, then I think we'll take another break.
Tara.
Oh, is there a word I missed?
Yes.
Sorry.
Chandre, Tara, Vyuha, Jnanam. You will understand the arrangement of the stars if you turn this same effort upon the moon.
Did we miss a word? No? Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. What does he mean when he says stars? What does he mean when he says moon? Let's start with moon. The Sanskrit word is Chandra. The ancient Sanskrit root is Schchand, S-C-H-A-N-D. The sh or sa sound often drops off going to other languages. The ancient root is Kand, K-A-N-D. And this shows up in English in the word candle. It shows up in incense. That's why incense is spelled that way. It shows up in incandescence, the C-A-D. And it shows up in incendiary. Anyway, they all mean to shine brightly. They are related to an ancient root ske, which came into the English in the word scone, which means a bright, wonderful thing. It's one of the joys of Ireland, I think. Those are words that come from the same root. Chandra, as you can guess, refers to the left-hand channel, which is normally cool, meaning the negative emotions that are more cool than anger. For example, desire for food, desire for sex, desire for fame. All of these thoughts would be running in the left-hand channel. On a deeper level, our wrong idea about our own selves, as opposed to outside objects, which is on the right channel, are all running through the left channel. All our wrong ideas about where we came from are running in this left channel. Our own wrong ideas about our own mind is running in our left-hand channel. Mind is often referred to in the yoga text as bindu, consciousness, drop of consciousness, or tigle in Tibetan. And the word tara, which means a star in the sky, is a code word for drops of consciousness. So the tara here, the word star, means that misunderstanding about our own mind, about our own selves. It's a code word. I like the word tara. It comes from an ancient root, tur, T-I-R in Sanskrit, which means to cross over. You see the meaning in the Tibetan translation, yukar. Karma in Tibetan means star. Karma in Sanskrit means karma. And then gyu means it's running in across the sky. Stars that course across the sky in a certain pattern. So tur means to cross over or to burst through. And the Lady of Liberation, Droma, or Tara, with a different accent, is this woman, Buddha, fully enlightened angel, who helps take people across the ocean of suffering. So her name is Tara. The ancient Indo-European is T-E-R, tear. It shows up in a lot of words. The word through comes from this because of breaking through. The word thrill comes from this because it used to mean to drill a hole. The word nostril, TR, comes from this because of the hole through which you breathe. All the words that start with transit, transport, transportation, the TR comes from crossing over. The same root as Tara. But the word I love the most is nectar. Nek means death, as in necrophilia. Tar means it can take you across or away from death. There's another root called mert in Sanskrit. And when you say deathlessness in Sanskrit, it's amerta. No death. That mert comes into English with mortuary. And really, that was my hope in begging our holy teacher to come and chant for us each day. Because this chant is an ancient chant, and it contains the word amartam, martyormam amarta. It means, may our deaths become deathlessness. If you really understand the channels, how to work with them, then in one lifetime you can overcome the physical death and become a holy angel who can travel to all planets, all stars at the same time and serve others. I repeat, I'm not shy to repeat it, it's what you dream for. It's what all of us dream about. It's what's really your goal in life, is to serve all living creatures. It's our deepest desire. So if you turn your wisdom on this left-hand channel, you can understand why and how to change yourself, your drop of consciousness, into an angel. And again, the most powerful method is compassion from the inside, and breathing with compassion, with Tonglen, and then supplemented by the very useful exercises on the outside. I'm sorry to go long. I would like to finish more of the sutra today. We might all die tonight. We don't know. I always do this to you. I'm sorry. I'm not as bad as Ken Rinpoche. Neither of us comes close to Lama Sutra. His Holiness always stops exactly at the right moment. He's so wise. But we'll take a break, and then we'll do a little bit more. Okay?
By this deed may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Gurata Mandala Kaviratayami.
Okay. Before I forget, I wanted to say, if there's people who can't sing or dance or drive, you're still very welcome to join us wherever you can, any part that you can. There'll be lots of hard work to do. I think like poetry reading or story reading, or for shy people, sticking out posters and things like that. Next verse, please. We'll stop in half an hour. Diamond dealer's promise.
Truve tapeti zinanam. Turn the effort upon the pole star and you will understand their movement.
Thank you. Druve targati jnanam. This is one more verse about the inner channels, all in code. Sometimes it's called diamond language, dorjetsik. It's meant to prevent people from reading these texts who hadn't got their seatbelt ready. Druve means the North Star. You can say the pole star. But more specifically, the giant axis that runs through the whole universe, and from around which the stars turn from our perspective. It comes from an ancient root, Dhir, D-H-I-R, you can spell it this way, which is also the root for the word dharma. This root has a basic meaning of to hold firmly. And in Tibetan we say Rangingo Zibina Chu, which means Dharma is called Dharma because it holds its own nature. And Nyansone Suing Chu, which means Dharma holds you back from pain of the lower rebirths. And that's why Dharma is called Dharma. The ancient Indo-European root is D-H-E-R, der. I really like this one 2, it becomes the word, in Latin DH changes to F and becomes the word firm. Also the word farm, because of the ground being firm. The word firmament and the word throne, meaning a firm place for a person to sit. THR comes from DHR. But I really like another root that came from this called Deru, D-E-R-U, which means something very dur, something very firm. And that became the word for tree, because to the ancients a tree was one of the strongest and firmest things in their world. That word became the word true, and so the word truth comes from the same root as dharma. This is a code word for the axis running up and down our own physical body, the central channel. In Sanskrit there are about 10 different words for it. Sushumna is one. This channel is the beautiful channel. It is in a state of being constantly choked off by the vines of the 2 other channels wrapping around it at the places called the chakras. And it chokes the movement of our own thoughts within the central channel. When we die, for a few seconds, those channels release their hold on the central channel. We have a experience which is very close to the perception, direct perception of emptiness. And during the direct perception of emptiness, the central channel, for a brief period at the beginning, opens wide full. Tad gati jnanam. Gati means the going. You know this word from the mantra in the Heart Sutra. Gati gati, paragati, parasangati, bodhisoha. It comes from a triple root, ga, G-A, gam, G-A-M, and gach, G-A-C-H. The ancient Indo-European root is gwa, G-W-A. And that's the root of the word to come. Its sister root is the word to go. Sometimes the G drops off, the W stays at the front, and it becomes the word for avenue. A place where you go. When Master Patanjali says you will understand how they move or how they go, he means if you can train your meditation upon the central channel, understand its true nature, you will begin to grasp the movement of the drops of consciousness that he spoke about in the verse before, the stars. There's a lot more to say about how we open up this channel. It is one of the main goals of the higher teachings. It is one of the main goals of the yoga exercises. We're not allowed to speak that much about it openly to large groups. You have to have a ticket to that show. It's 18 courses. I'm sure you'll start getting it ready. And it's just because you won't probably succeed if you don't have the right background and training. Next verse, please.
Dukkha durmanasaya vandam
Ajatwa, Shavasa, Prashavasa, Vikshepa, Saha, Bhuva.
The mind flies off, and with that come pain in the body, unhappy thoughts, shaking in the hands and other parts of your body, the breath falling out of rhythm as it passes in and out.
Thank you. In this verse, which comes from the first chapter, we're skipping back to the first chapter, Master Patanjali describes eloquently the connection between our physical body and our breath and the inner channels. I think you can think of it as 5 levels. Sometimes they're called kosha, or sheaths, or sometimes it refers to the sheath of a sword, within sheaths, meaning layers within layers, like an onion. You can think of 5 layers. We seek in the higher practices to address all 5 layers. The outer layer is the body, and we address it through the physical exercises, the asanas. The next layer down, which the body rests upon, is the breath. Those physical energies like food and rest and concentration, which sustain our bodies. The next level down, the 3rd level, is the inner winds, which are running in the inner channels. These are physical, subtle winds upon which our very thoughts ride, and those thoughts represent the 4th level. Below all of them, at the bottom level, the last layer of the onion is the seeds in our mind. You can call them world seeds. They create our world in the way we spoke about earlier. But in this verse, which you don't need a commentary for really, Master Patanjali is trying to point out the connection between our thoughts and our breath and the inner winds and the outer appearance of the body. If you get afraid, then those thoughts start to rush through the channels. They disturb the inner winds, which are tuned to the breath. That disturbs the body. If you keep it up long enough, you get an ulcer or a heart attack. And all of these are run by the inner seeds, which are planted by how we treat others. So how we treat others is at the root of everything. To talk about the words briefly, I think Vikshepa is one of the key words here. V sort of means jumbled up, turned around. You find it in the word wire, meaning something that you can bend around, and other English words. Kshepa comes from a root in Sanskrit, kship, K-S-H-I-P, which means to get agitated. It comes from an ancient Indo-European root, krep. Sh often changes to W, and you get K-W-E-P. From this comes the word to covet, which means a sort of a thought which will disturb your mind. The word vapor comes from the V, the W, and the P, meaning wildly moving smoke. And the word Cupid comes also from this root, meaning a person who incites emotional agitation. The C-U-P comes from the same root. And he's talking about disturbances of our practice and our meditation. I think Dhammanasya is another key word here. We have the dus already in dukkha, meaning suffering, a bad wheel, fall. It becomes dour. Manasya comes from the root man, M-A-N, which has a basic meaning of to think. And men, M-E-N, is the Indo-European root, which shows up in English in the word mind, M-I-N-D, mental, maniac, mania. Balletto-man is a person who's crazy about ballet. And words like that. Mnemonic comes from that. I like one word especially. The M-N, it becomes mentva in Greek, and then the NTV transforms to M-U-S-E, muse, and to music. So the word music comes from the word mind. I think that's all the keywords, is it? We covered the others? Okay. But this verse is important because it is where Master Patanjali reveals the connection between our inner winds and the health of our bodies. And that's why we can work with our bodies and change the winds, and also work with our thoughts and change the winds from the inside. It's shown in our reaction to strong emotions when the breath starts to go quickly and the hands start to shake. Next verse, please.
Bahaya, Abhyantara, Stamba, Virja, Deshakala, Sankhyabi, Paradirsto, Dirga, Sukshma.
Keep a close watch on the breath, outside or inside, stopped or being exchanged.
I think, as you may know, Master Patanjali, in the second chapter, outlines a program of 8 specific activities we can do to purify our minds and the channels and become an angel who can help all beings. These 8 parts are called the Ashta Anga, which means 8 parts. And then the word Ashtanga is the combination of those, meaning the 8-part practice. After introducing the physical exercises, which is the third of the practices of the 8 limbs, then Master Patanjali introduces breathing exercises, or what we call in Sanskrit pranayama. In Tibetan it's called lumjang, which means the training of the inner winds and breath. So in this verse he begins to introduce some of the methods of proper breathing. The whole point is very simple. If the breath at level number 2 is linked to the inner winds at level number 3 within our channels, then if we could slow or calm the breath, then the inner winds would be forced to slow within the channels. And because the thoughts are linked to the inner winds, it would calm our thoughts. In an extreme case, you could use special breathing practices to actually influence your ignorance and your inability to perceive reality. So that breathing exercises, although they calm you down, are ultimately meant to address the very root of all suffering of mankind within a human body, human being's body. I think the key word here is dirga or sukshma. Stamba, I'm sorry. That's another word. Naturally, breathing practice should address how you exhale, how you inhale, and then the breath can be either moving or stopped. Stamba means stopped, and vertir means moving. It can be either in motion or it can be frozen. Stamba means frozen hard. The Tibetan is Rengma. You have it in the Vajrayogini mantra, praise, Om Mukche Renje Mongje Kune Namagyo. And it means to freeze in place or to stop something. The ancient Sanskrit word root is stam, S-T-A-M-P-H, and ancient Indo-European is stem, S-T-E-M-B-H, and from that we get the word tree stump and a stamp, meaning something that you stamp down, and stampede, and words like staff, meaning a strong staff, meaning frozen, staying hard in place, propping up things. Again, I can't go into great detail. These are practices that require your seatbelt, and the point is that by properly working with the breath, we can actually trigger things like compassion and kindness and the direct perception of emptiness. When the winds flow fully in the central channel, the breath can even stop. This is obviously something relating to the body of light, which we will eventually have. It has no inner organs, no lungs, hearts, stomach. It doesn't require food or even breath. Next verse, please. We'll stop in about 10 or 15 minutes.
Saya Abhyantra Skamba Virtir Deshakala Sankyabi Paradishto Dirga. The place in the body, the duration.
He's still talking about pranayama, using the breath to control the inner winds and thus affect our very thought. He says we should watch where the breath goes within our bodies. Desha is a specific word for an area of the body, but it can also mean country or outer area. The word Bangladesh means the Desha of the Banglas, meaning the land of those people. The Sanskrit root is Diksh, D-I-K-S-H. The old Indo-European root is Dek, D-E-I-K. We find it in a lot of English words for pointing to an area, like indicate, and the word digit, as in digital revolution, means a finger, or what you use to point with. We have 10 digits. The very word to teach is the same root. The K becomes CH, the I becomes EA, the D becomes T. It means to point the way to someone. Also the word predicate, which is shortened into the word preach. So all of these words come from the same root as desha. And it means as you become more advanced in your breathing and other meditation practices, you will learn to direct both your physical breath and your inner winds to specific areas of your body to enhance the flow of the thought winds and eventually transform your very body. Even in the physical exercises of yoga, there are times when we are breathing into different parts of our lungs as a sort of a similar training. And you can be thinking about sending power of your breath to parts of your body that are where you have pain from aging or accidents. He also speaks about kala, meaning how long you take your breathing, whether you take slow breaths or fast breaths. We spoke about that word already. And then he talks about sankhya, which means the counting. How do we count the breaths? I'll say one thing about counting, which is very important for you to remember. In the higher teachings, it's very auspicious and it has a deep effect on your whole being. If you think of your breaths as being counted from the out breath first, and then the second half of the breath is the in breath. So normally when I say count your breaths, you will breathe in, and then you'll breathe out, and you count that as one. But when we practice the higher teachings, and I'd like you to do Tonglen this way, the out breath counts as the first half, and the in breath is the second half. And this has a special effect on our inner channels. I thought the word sankhya might be good to mention because there's a strong connection between yoga practice in India and the ancient sankhya philosophy, which grew up alongside of Buddhism. They were called sankhya, and this is a whole different meaning of the word, because they counted 25 major forces or energy in the creation of the world. So they were called the numberists. So sankhya means number, but it also refers to the numberists. San means together. It comes into English in the Indo-European is come, K-O-M. That comes into English as C-O-M, together, as in committee or computer, meaning to come together. Kya is an ancient word that means either to see or to tell or to be revealed. It comes from a very strange root. Let's see if I can remember it. I don't remember. Skre, I think. Anyway, it is Skre. You can spell it S-K-W-E, although I may correct myself tomorrow. And that comes into English in the word to see and sight. That's why the word sight has a G. And it comes into the word to say, which is related to the word for saga, or a long tail, like today's teaching. Next verse.
Vaya, Abhyantara, Stamba, Virtu, Disha Kala, Sankhyabu, Paradishtu, Dirga, Suksama. Long and fine.
Long and fine are two more descriptions of the breath, qualities of the breath that we need to cultivate. If you start to be aware of your breath as an exhale followed by an inhale rather than an inhale followed by an exhale, you'll find that it's easier to draw your breath out if you exhale in almost like a sigh from your throat, or even lower, this is a special way of breathing that has an effect on your inner channels. If you make your exhales as long as you can, even as you meditate or do yoga, the inhales will take care of themselves. And they'll get slower and longer. As your inner winds and thoughts become more pure, your breathing becomes more and more fine, more and more subtle. The word sukshma is a long story, but basically it comes from words related to water drops or pinpoints, meaning something very subtle. The thoughts within the channels and the inner winds are often called sukshma or trama in Tibetan. I'd like to ask what the next verse is, and we might just stop here. That's a good place to stop, actually. Okay, so the deal is, you are the lineage holders. You must teach other people. This holy knowledge can save people's lives. It was designed for that. Which means you have to go home now, have a modest meal, and talk about the different verses with your friends. This is the most powerful way to review. Tomorrow, before class, again, review. Then all of the knowledge will stay with you. If you miss a single review, it probably won't stay with you, and you might lose an opportunity to actually save another person's life. Those of you, again, who have a special ceremony tonight, I strongly encourage you to make it very brief and get a good rest. It's a custom to offer 1,000 butter lamps on Jetsun Kapa's birthday today, and I think there'll be some lamps being offered. I'd like to especially thank the people who were involved with getting those lamps for us. It was a long task to bring them from India, special butter lamps, and there's a group, I believe, I'm not sure, but in California, who took care of all of the trouble and expense of that, and I'd like to thank them on all of our behalf. Have a good evening. Rest well, please.
Experience
Ma